welcome everyone to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank you so much for joining us here on the broadcast. Let me get that mic right there on my face. Thank you, and thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate you for tuning in on whatever platform you are, and we're going to welcome a brand new platform, LinkedIn. Thank you, LinkedIn watchers and listeners, for joining the Real Talk Sports Show. All right, let's get right to it. Let's waste no more time as we are broadcasting to you from the continued Corona coveted location. As we are recovering here from COVID, we thank God that we're still alive, me and my daughter, as we've been dealing with the coronavirus situation. We both are infected, but we are in the tail end of it now, and both of us are going back to work in the next couple of days. So we thank God that we are in no disrepair. Thank you, and thank you. Well, guys, you know, when we do this sports show, we bring on one of the most beautiful women on sports talk radio or TV. We simply call her the Queen. Tree Dolman is back. Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun.
Hello, Jonathan. Hi, everybody. Glad
Welcome
you're
back, Tree.
feeling better. Well, thank
Yep,
you. Missed you
yep,
guys.
yep, yep. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, definitely feeling better. First couple of days of Corona are always no fun. We were a little bit of disrepair, but thank the Lord that we are still here. No hospitalization, nothing crazy like that. Thank God for that. Let me put some glasses on so I can see better. Oh, look. So yeah, we are thankful to God that we are here and, like I said, going back to work very, very soon. Well, how were your Christmas holidays, ma'am?
Hmm, they were all right.
All right, well, better than bad. So we appreciate that. And
Oh, yeah, never bad. It's just a rough,
right there, you
it's
go. That's
always a
right.
rough, but, extra rough time of the year for me. But, it was all right. How was yours?
Well, it was great until we got a little visit from Mr. Corona. That was not the Christmas present I was expecting, but nevertheless, we got it, and like I said, we survived. Let's go right away to social media, and from the world of the Maryland, D.C. area, Miss Donna Jones says, "Happy New Year and welcome back, Tree."
Thank you, Donna. Happy New Year to you, and thank you.
That's right.
Good to
Well,
be
sports
back.
world, good to be back. Good to have you back. Sports world, of course, as always, when we come back after a full weekend, lots of stuff going on in the world of sports, and we'll be talking about three things, keeping it brief tonight. Number one, got to talk about a little bit about the return of Jalen Johnson and his effect on the Hawks. We obviously have to talk about the two outstanding college football semifinal games that were played over the weekend. And I know that Tree is suppressing her excitement over the fact that the Michigan Wolverines, for the first time in the modern era of college football playoffs, have advanced to the finals for the very first time with their big win over the Alabama Crimson Tide. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And the team that I picked to win it all, the Washington Huskies, flexed their offensive muscles, knocking off the Texas Longhorns in the other semifinal game. Again, another great game, came right down to the wire. So look forward to talking about that. And obviously, at the end of our broadcast, we'll talk NFL football. Tree will suppress her irritation and anger at the shocking turn of events with Detroit against Dallas. And of course, we'll talk about the Falcons to see what they should do because I think it's all going to hit the fan very, very soon with our Atlanta Falcons and their continued poor play. What can be done? What can happen? Well, let's first talk about the Atlanta Hawks. What do you think about, first of all, are you surprised with how big of an impact that Jalen Johnson has had on this team? You see, they look like a different team when he is out on the court. Any surprise about that, Tree?
No, Jalen Johnson plays hard. I've always liked watching him, even when he first was starting to get playing time and just the way that he contributes. And I just think he brings so much energy when he's out on the court. So I'm definitely not surprised. Are you surprised?
I don't know if surprise is the right word. He is certainly his impact. Yeah, I know obviously that John Collins is not here and he's taking a lot of John's minutes, but I mean the impact that he's had on the team has just been yeah, it is we do miss him, no doubt. But yeah, he really has turned his game up and he now to me is a he I don't he's really the integral part of this Hawks team, and we can see it here as he came back from injury over the Christmas holidays. Came back on, I think it was on the 26th. Yeah, Christmas, that Christmas Day game or day after Christmas game. Uh, 29 points, 29 minutes of play, 10 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 9 rebounds, but then kind of hit his stride against the Kings, 16 points, 15 rebounds, and then the other night against the Wizards, balled out completely with 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists. And the thing about him that is really, I think, the big key is his shooting efficiency. He shoots right around 50%. And unlike some other players that we've seen at that position, he's able to get his own shot.
Yeah, he
He
does
can,
a great job rebounding.
yep, he rebound and he can take you off the dribble. And he knows how to finish at the rim. And his 3-point shooting has improved this year as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, so to me, he is a big part of what this team is going to do going forward. I guess
Mhm.
the big question is, when are the Hawks going to be able to finally get this defensive scheme that Quinn Snyder is running? When are they going to be able to get that down? Because right
Mhm.
now, defensively, they're terrible.
Yeah, that's a good question. We are all waiting to see.
Yes, right now, let's take a look so we can grab the Hawks record here. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Get back here. There's still a few games under 500. And right now find themselves a dismal 13 and 19, 13 games out of the first place slot in the Eastern Conference, and they find themselves a one game out of the play-in game, and they are a good. Let's see here, they need to be in the six spot, I guess. Yeah, and they find themselves 5 games out of that coveted six spot where they would not have to play playing game at all. So I don't even know what to think about the team anymore. They're no longer. To me, the biggest difference is their play at home.
Hmm.
That's a big difference. Before it seemed like no matter how bad the Hawks were, they always were able to play fairly well at home. But this
Mhm.
year, their record at home is, well, that's the key. There are right now Hawks at home. Can you believe it, Tree? They're 4-9 at home.
Yeah. Well, it's still the beginning of the season, so I'm not concerned. We have a very, very, very long way to go.
So you're thinking third of the season, no sense getting excited. The Hawks got a ways to go, and that look, at the end of the day, we talk about this all the time. When do you want to play your best? At the end of the season,
Right.
because
Every
you know
game matters, but it's
right,
not how you start, it's how you finish. And as long as they are in the play-in tournament or in the playoffs, preferably in the playoffs, and they don't have to play in, that's all that matters. Because we know that once the season ends and once it goes to the playoffs, it's an entirely new season. You're back at zeros, and so your record no longer matters, right? So an
right.
8 seed can beat a number 1 seed. I mean, it's possible. So I really am not concerned with how they get there, just as long as they do get there. That is what counts.
Yeah, I'd hate to have them have that playing game. In my mind, it's like, hey, look, it would be really, really good if they could kind of find their way in there, get a kind of a game under their belt, and
Mhm.
not have to worry about going on the road and scrambling on those one game you're out, or one, well, actually not one game you're out. I guess if you're the 7th seed, you would host a game and you'd have an opportunity if you lost to play again. But yeah, I'm just hoping they can get right to that 6th seed, avoid a play-in. And even though you play obviously a tougher opponent, it's just like I said, just to avoid that whole playing nonsense. I think would be great for the
Yeah.
Hawks overall. So hopefully they can turn it around.
Hopefully,
Um,
I mean, there's still a long road ahead, so I'm not concerned. Does it look bad so far? Yes, it does, but it's not a big deal to me at this point.
okay, if you had a Christmas wish for the Hawks, who would you like to see them bring in? Any player that kind of is on your radar that you say, hey, I'd like to see the Hawks, get this
Well,
person.
you already know I'm going to say John Collins, but we know that's not going to happen. So let's see. So my second choice would be I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of great talent out there. I just really think that need, I think they need another big man and someone who is really great at defense. I think that will just help the team. So I'm gonna go with a big man, and who honestly I don't know right now. I'll have to do some thinking on that. Who would you have them on your wish list to go and get?
Well, the guy that they talked about for the last couple of years, I don't know if they can get him, but the guy, I guess he's up in Toronto, Pascal, can't pronounce his name right, Sycam or Sikium.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, love to see him, because I think he's the kind of player the Hawks need, a guy that's a big man, somebody that's a kind of aggressive down low. I'd like to see that. Whether they pull it off or not, I'm not sure. But that would be me. Somebody in that type of vein that could get
Mm-hmm.
them some muscle, get them some down low presence. I would
Yeah.
love to see somebody like that. All right, guys,
Yeah.
before we go to the break, in addition to bringing on one of those beautiful women in sports talk radio and TV, we also bring on dun, 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 a champion. I think he disappeared. Hopefully, we'll bring him back here. I saw him in the green room, but we'll bring him back after the break. Two-time Super Bowl champion, National Black College Alumni Hall of Famer, first ever Carolina Panthers defensive draft selection. We're going to bring on Tyrone Poole after the break. But speaking of break, we're going to take one right now. Keep it locked right here for more of the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment, so don't go nowhere. Please, 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 and thank you. Hang tight. Hold on.
This is your time to get what you want. Go work that thing with Work That Thing supplements.
That's right, guys. Work that thing. And if you're going to work that thing, you got to work it with the man himself. He needs no further introduction, but we're going to give it to him one more time, baby. He's a not one, but two-time Super Bowl champion, National Black College Alumni Hall of Famer, first ever Carolina Panthers defensive draft selection, and once again, a nominee for the Black College Football Hall of Fame. I'm talking about the one and only number 38, Tyrone Poole is in the building. Tyrone, welcome back, sir.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? How you doing, Miss Tree? How you doing, Jonathan? And everybody watching and listening. Hope everybody's well.
Hey, Tyrone.
How we doing, Tree?
Doing well. Happy New Year to both of you.
New Year to you as well.
Hold on a second. Tyrone, make me butt my collar here.
Oh, like, what are you doing, Jonathan?
But my collar.
I didn't know what you were doing.
I know, right?
I just had to explain it to you. And the reason why is look, Mr. Tyrone Poole looking razor sharp there in his
He is razor
blue
sharp.
blazer and pocket square, and as always.
I actually did my show. I have a Tyrone Poole show. So today I talked about, my show is all about helping people overcome the Life University. I call it Life University. Life is always serving us temptation, trials, and tests. And doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, what you don't have not, have, the haves. Everybody got to take these tests, trials, temptations. It's there. So my show is all about helping people overcome. So today I talked about the roller coaster ride of life. And everybody gets on that roller coaster. The highs and the lows of life. Some people can handle them. Some people can't. I'm pretty sure you guys probably been on roller coasters, right? Me personally, I never was that type of person that put my hands in the air and be, I was holding on to that bar, Jack. I'm like, I probably left my impression in that bar. Or if somebody was riding with me, I'm like, they like, let me go. I'm like, but we've all been on a roller coaster. So I just gave some tips on how to handle the roller coaster rides of life. So
Well, sir, there is no doubt that certainly we were on a little tiny roller coaster. We did not expect our Christmas holidays to go from the high of celebrating my brother's birthday on Christmas Eve to the crashing of dad. Test yourself. I got COVID. And then me getting that test result saying, you have it too, young man. So, but no doubt, like I mentioned earlier, we're excited to be here and not, ill. Let's go to social media. Our man Todd is there. Tree, what's Todd
Ah,
got to say today?
okay, Todd. He said, "Hi, Tree. Hi, preacher. Preacher. Easy way to get show viewership numbers down." Talk NBA. Most Atlanta sports fans don't even know we have an NBA team. Let's talk refs in Detroit game. Laugh out loud. Yes, Todd, I am with you. Let's talk Detroit. Todd said Tyrone looked like a future Falcons wide receiver coach. Okay.
yeah, yeah, I know Todd. Didn't Todd say last week being a defensive back coach for Georgia Tech? Didn't
He,
Todd say
he
that?
wants you. He wants you somewhere here in Atlanta, working with these
Uh,
interesting teams that we have, bro. I mean,
yeah,
our teams need some help. So he's
we can
like,
help them
please,
boys at
Tyrone.
Georgia Tech though. I can help them boys at Georgia Tech.
Oh yeah,
So
man.
hey,
Really, it
Todd,
would be a perfect time to go to them now, bro, because that team definitely looks like they've got a little momentum. Going into this year. Played well. A little up and down during the season, but had some big wins over some top ranked teams and the top 25 teams at least. And then nice bowl win. So yeah, they could certainly use you, bro. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Well, speaking of college football, we saw two good ones over the weekend. Final Four was finally here, and is now down to two after the Michigan Wolverines shut them out. Them SEC boys
Hey,
knocking
can you
off,
say that one more time, Jonathan?
shut them out. He said, shut up. Shut your mouth up. I don't want to
I'm
hear
just
no more.
saying. Because, I mean, can we just talk? And Todd, you included. I mean, I want to know where everybody's at. Where's H.C. Hardy? Where's Sullivan Sullivan? You guys were talking so much smack. So much smack. Do you guys remember that? How much smack you were talking? Oh, the Michigan Wolverines can't hang with the SEC. Alabama's going to stomp Michigan. I mean, you guys were just really, really just going at it, right? And what did I say? I said the Michigan Wolverines, we want all the smoke. We wanted Georgia. Georgia wasn't up for the challenge. So we got Alabama. And everybody said, oh, you guys are going to get blown out. It's not even going to be close. Well, thank you, Tyrone, because I just have one thing to say.
it's a fight song.
Here comes Hail to the Victors.
Uh,
Hey, hey. Okay. I
uh,
just
She's very
I just had
excited
to,
about her win, and as she should be. The Wolverines
yes.
knocked off Alabama and one of the great coaches in college football history. And had to go to overtime, though. They showed a lot of grit. Tyrone, what do you think about watching that game, kind sir?
well, let's get your take on it, Jonathan. What do you think? What do you
Well,
think
look,
first?
man, at the end of the day, like I told you about, Michigan defense was legit. I mean, guys were telling me, oh, they haven't played anybody. I looked at it like this: in the team that they played was close to an SEC team was Ohio State, and they were able to keep them in check, even with Marvin Harrison being healthy. So I thought to myself, they'd give Georgia or Alabama some trouble. And what it came down to is the Michigan defense was the story as they made that unbelievable stop. A lot of people killing Nick Saban about the call, but I'm like, hey man, you basically do what you're supposed to do. You put the ball in the hands of your best player. Certainly, I thought you should have maybe some a run pass option, him rolling out, but hey, they made the call. Best player, Michigan defense bowled up, made the stop, and that was it. So yeah, I wasn't surprised in Michigan victory, man. Their defense is stout. Been out
And
stout all
number
year.
one in the country, may I add? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, so no shockers there at all. Like I said, Michigan played very well. Matter of fact, let's take a look at some of the stats there. Um, Well, and looking at stats, you see something Tyrone talks about all the time. You got to have some balance. You got to be able to run the ball. And Michigan put up over 100 yards against the Alabama Crimson Tide, including Blake Corum, the little spark plug, 19 of 83, as they rushed for a total of 130 yards against the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what you were saying, I said this. I think the last time we talked about it, I said McCarthy, he would be the key. What he's able to do to keep the offense balanced. So I felt like Michigan did pretty good on that. And bottom line, it was a real good game. And when it came down to the last play, uh, as I look at that play more and more, there's always somebody who didn't do what they were supposed to do. Um, whether it's a defense that gave up a big run, usually it's a defensive player who did not get in his gap. And that's where the ball hit and boom, out the gate. They had everybody else was in their gaps except one guy who tried to be Superman and get in somebody else's gap, or they just miss open field tackle. So when I go back and look at that play, when you look at that offensive guard, I think that pulled, it was offensive guard that pulled. Uh, Michigan had a double blitz on the outside. And if you go back and look at that play, and plus I think because that quarterback Miro, he had a low snap, he dropped the ball. I think he kind of panicked a little bit. And he didn't see the whole offense like he would if he had a clean snap, right? The ball went low, he had to pick it up, and then he probably already feeling the pressure, knowing that pressure is coming. We're on the goal line. Boom, I'm just going to take off and run straight up the middle. But if you go back and look at that play, you look to the left side. The left side had cleared out. Really, there was a defensive back that was actually coming. And if that tackle had kicked or the guard had kicked him out, and Milrow had probably seen it, he probably could have squirted through, at least gave it a better opportunity than what it appeared. So that's what I looked at on the replay. That's what I saw just from my brain, from my eyes.
Yeah, and everybody wants to kill Nick Saban about the call, but at the end of the day, that wasn't. Don't get me wrong. Michigan did exactly what they had to do to win that game. They pulled up defensively, stopped Alabama when they needed to. But if you remember coming out of the second half, Alabama seemed to get some traction offensively, and then mysteriously their center forgot to snap the ball. They had got 2 or 3 first downs in a row, moved the ball, and their center threw, I think, one in the ground, and threw another one, like you said, that Jalen had to kind of grab from low. And when the center came off, man, Nick Saban was in his took it. So that to me was really kind of where the game turned. I mean, did it get down that one play? It did, but to me, if Alabama had been able to sustain that drive and get some points there, who knows?
Well, this is the problem, and this is what I was talking about with why I do not like at all a month off of football. If you look at the game, there were mistakes being made by both teams that you normally do not see. People dropping the ball, the center. It just because they were off for an entire month. You did not see the same two teams that you would have seen had this game been played closer to the end of the season. So when you have a month off, they're trying to adjust and get back into that game mode. And then you'll see next week, I think you'll see a better game from both teams, but it's going to take them time to get back into that game rhythm. And that's just so tough to do. So I'm thankful that we won the game. But I just saw looking at the game and looking at both teams, and actually all 4 teams, but mainly the 2 teams that we're talking about now, the Alabama and Michigan game, that month off it just does something. So I think it would be even better football if it wasn't an entire month off, but that's just my opinion.
No, I agree.
Oh, man, Demetrius from YouTube.
Demetrius Alexander said, beat Washington and then I can talk. Hold up, Demetrius. I can talk now. We don't have to wait until we beat Washington, which we are going to do, but I can talk now. Don't get me started on my undefeated Michigan Wolverines, who has won the Big Ten championship 3 years in a row, who has won the Rose Bowl. So I can talk, Demetrius, but don't wait. When we beat Washington and we're national champions, like I said at the beginning of the season, you really go hear me talking.
There you go, right there. Tree said you better get ready for some even more smoke.
Yeah, look, be prepared to get sick of me.
Yeah, so let's take a look here at Alabama's offense. Jalen Milroe, basically, you can look at his numbers and tell a story. He's very efficient passing ball, 16 to 23, but held to only 116 yards of passing. Todd rushed the ball very well, 43 for 172, but this had some problems moving the ball in the air. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Now, like that 116 is deceiving, man. That's why I don't like looking. I don't like stats because they're deceiving, right? Some of his throws, when I was paying attention to the game, they were kind of like throwing to the flats. They were short throws, and the quarterback, the running back, the people who caught the ball yards after the catch. But again, I think Milroe, he was a key to whether or not Alabama was going to be successful. Just like I said, McCarthy. And I think honestly, Milroe did not play a complete game. He needed to play a complete game passing and using his legs. And again, Michigan, we all knew they had a real good defense as well. So, he didn't do his job. I'll just say that. I think he could have done more, but for some reason, Nick Saban them didn't allow him to. They didn't open up the playbook. But I don't know. That's just me talking. But 116 yards, yeah, he could complete 50% of those passes, 60, 70% of those passes. But the point is, let the quarterback throw the ball. Let the quarterback throw the ball. So that's, just my opinion.
Yeah, he's a good thrower to deep ball. We did not see that hardly at all. Their longest pass play was for 29 yards. Demetrius seized, I guess he seized the, let's see, pop it up here. What's Demetrius asking for there, Tree?
He said, where my rings?
Demetrius talking some junk today. He's in rare form.
Big time junk. What school are you rooting for, Demetrius? That's what I want to know.
Just saying. What school
are you rooting for? It must be Alabama. Talking about wear your rings. So this is what I want to tell people when it comes to sports, and this is what I used to always tell my teams when I coached. You cannot live off of the past. Yes, you definitely want to bring up the past with greatness. We know that Alabama, you can't talk college football and not mention Alabama and Nick Saban. I mean, let's be real. We know what greatness is in that team and in that coach. But you still can't live in the past when we're talking about a championship game that's about to be played and just talk about the rings. But if you want to talk about statistics, we can go there with statistics. Don't get me started on my Michigan Wolverines. Like, hello, we have the most college wins. We're number one. SEC is the third team. Ohio State is the second team. I can go on and on about Michigan. So no, not that many rings as of lately, but we still are amazing, and we're number one right now. Not last year, but right now. I'm just saying.
And I can tell you right now, in that game, Michigan and Washington, with Washington explosive offense, what Michigan is going to do, they're going to go to that ground and pound. They're going to control the clock. That's what you do against teams that throw the ball. You look at what Washington did in that game against Texas, passing yards, 430 yards, rushing only 102, right? So they're throwing the ball. So what Michigan is going to do, they're going to come in and they're going to ground and pound, eat up that clock, and do what they do best, run the ball. And you're going to have Washington. They may not have as many opportunities that they had in the Texas game to put up 37 points. But when they do get out there, they're going to feel like they got to rush. They got to rush. It kind of reminds me, I'm going to go and use a little bit of pro football here. When the New York Giants took on the Buffalo Bills back in I think it was in 1990, they played the Super Bowl. And Buffalo had that high-octane offense, right, the K-gun. And I remember this so well because it was a story told in the locker room with the Patriots. But Bill Belichick was the defensive coordinator. And Pepper Johnson, who was coach with the Patriots when I was there, of course, was a linebacker with the Patriots, with the Giants when Bill Belichick was coaching. And he said that Bill told them during that week, in order to beat Buffalo, we're gonna have to let Thurman Thomas run for 100 yards or more. Right? Now, doing what was so tough about that was because the Giants, they had not allowed a 100-yard rusher all year, even the playoffs. So the same thing is here with the Washington Huskies. Because they are more of an air attack, I think what Michigan is going to do, they're going to come in and they're going to run that ball, going to eat up the clock. It's going to be a fast game. I think it's going to be a fast game just because of the fact that Michigan is going to be running the ball. Yeah, they're going to throw it, but they're going to do what they do. Their big offensive line, they're going to put their shoulder pads on Washington's defensive lineman, and they're going to see if they can man up. So I think that's how they're going to try to stop Washington.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a minute. Hang tight.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
Congratulations. What do you think? Is it worth the wait, buddy?
I love it. I can't wait to get on the road with it.
Listen, man, thank you very much, and congratulations to you. Appreciate your business.
Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate your business.
Thank you, Ron. There's guys. Remember, if you need a vehicle, the good news is those discounts and special financing are back. So give me a call, 678-410-9833. Love to help you out, help your family out. Also, remember, I specialize in business-to-business sales. So if you have a company, we can get you financed in your company name. We can get you leased in the company name. So there's right there. Heck, check me out, 678-410-9833, or give me a call there at that number, or send me an email, jsimmons@realtalksports.net. Yeah, so you guys know I'm on the record saying the Washington Huskies will, in fact, shock the world and win the national title after watching them against Texas. I just think that Mr. Michael Penix Jr. is going to be a tough out. He showed why he was a Heisman Trophy candidate. Huge numbers against the Texas Longhorns, 29-38, 430 yards in the air. 2 touchdowns, including a 77-yard bomb. If you watch the replays, this guy sling it. He was putting in some tight windows. Rushing wise, they did just enough to kind of keep everybody honest. 31 carries for 102 yards. Their running back Dylan Johnson kind of pounded away when they got in close. Had 2 touchdowns inside the red zone. But yeah, man, I just think that. The one thing about college I've seen in these playoffs that sometimes one player, even though it's a team game, you get one hot player, they can take it to victory. We saw it several years ago, ironically in the Rose Bowl, when we saw Vince Young take a Texas team that probably wasn't as good as USC. They were good, but that USC seemed to be a better team, and he single-handedly put Texas on his back and made the plays. And I'm thinking, no disrespect to you, I like Michigan, like you, but I'm thinking the Washington Huskies are going to shake up the world and win their first title since another slinging quarterback was at the helm, Warren Moon, back in the late 70s. So, yeah, man, I like Washington. I think their air attack is going to be tough on Michigan. I think that Michigan's not going to be able to get enough pressure to get him onto the ground. And I think that he has shown that he can throw the ball under pressure as well. So I'm picking the Washington Huskies to shock the world and knock off the Michigan Wolverines and, like I said again, win their first title in over 40 years.
Yeah. Let me say this, Jonathan. I get what you're saying about the passing game, but I'm going to tell you a little something from a professional standpoint. When we played against teams like that where they threw the ball, if you got some book ends, some defensive ends that run, He won't sit there like he did. They're gonna bring some blitzes. And when you can, so the key gonna be Washington gonna have to run the ball, brother. They're gonna have to balance that thing up. I don't think they're gonna be able to sit there and he sit in that pocket. And I think Michigan is a different beast than Texas. And when you got a team that knows that this team has a history, all they do is pass. Shoot, from a defensive end, I ain't gotta worry about no run responsibility. Well, I gotta worry about it, but not much. I'm just gonna peel off and I'm gonna go. And those offensive tackles, they're not suited, I think, to take on speed rushing a whole game. They're going to eventually give up something. And somebody going to come from the backside, knock that ball out, a fumble here, fumble there, scoop and score. So, again, I think Washington going to have to do more than just throw the ball, brother.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they're just going to just sit back there and throw and throw and
Well,
throw.
you said 430 yards. You like he just slinging it in. He ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna win a championship like that, brother.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that he's going to throw for 400 yards against Michigan, but I do think that he's going to get some yards, and I do think they have a running back that is capable of at least keeping Michigan honest. Their running back Dylan Johnson, although like you said, Texas did bottle him up pretty well. Still, when they got down there, they needed him to punch it in. He did so, and he did rush for 1,100 yards during the season. 222 carries, 1,162 yards, 5.2 yards a pop. So I think he'll be able to do just enough to keep Michigan honest on those play action fakes. And I do believe that even under duress, I think Mr. Penix is going to show everybody why maybe he should have won the Heisman. And again, not for 400, but I think he's good for a 300-yard game,
Let me
couple of
ask Tree.
touchdowns.
What you think, Tree? What you think, Tree? Tree gonna tell it to us straight. What's gonna happen, Tree, in the game against Washington, Michigan?
I think it's going to be a good game, but I think Michigan's coming out on top. One thing that I know that I think from what I saw from the two semifinal games is that Washington, they're ready. They feel that they can win. And Michigan, they're ready. They feel that they can win. And Michigan, though, the difference between Washington and Michigan is that Michigan, they're playing with a purpose. And you know how important that is, Tyrone. Like you always say, you have to find your identity. Michigan has theirs. They're playing for a purpose. So for them, it's championship or bust. They came back to win a championship. That's been their goal since day one. And they're very close to their goal. So I think that they will accomplish it. I do think that you do have to run the ball. We already know, like you can't just throw. If you throw, you're not going to win. You have to be able to run the ball, and we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'm already counting down on Monday.
I'm gonna add these little 2 pointers in there as well. Like Tree said, playing with a purpose. I think the purpose for winning this game is more on Michigan's side than Washington's side, to be honest with you. And the reason why I say that is that Michigan, they want Harbaugh to come back. You saw the contract they try to offer him. They don't want him to go. They don't. So those players are gonna do everything they can to make sure that he gets that championship, right? To something to say, come back, man. We did it this year. We could do it again. And then here's the other question I want to ask for Washington, right? Did they leave their best game against Texas?
That part.
Sometimes that happened. You play so hard. And then remember, they don't have no 2-3 weeks off. They play next Monday. So you can leave all your energy with one team, and then you show up against in one game. You show up the next game, you're like, hold on. What happened? They left all their energy. They played their hearts out, left all their energy in Texas. Or, Louisiana, the Sugar Bowl. So those are the two questions, the two factors that I look at.
I don't think the Huskies don't know TCU. Yes, I don't look for them to come out of here like TCU did against Michigan, left it all on the field. Really probably shouldn't have won that game. Just a couple of bad picks by McCarthy. Now, I think Washington's a very, very good team. They proved it against playing a really, really tough Oregon squad and beating them twice. So yeah, I don't think this team is like any kind of Cinderella fairy tale. 13-0 coming to this game. You got a Heisman Trophy candidate on the team. Yeah, I think Washington's gonna. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough one. I think it's gonna be a
They're
great
not
game.
number 2 for nothing.
Right. Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, these guys, these are the real deal. So, yeah, I think that Washington is going to be making some noise. And I think that, like you said, I mean, that was my pick. I can't back off it now, just like I'm getting lambasted for my pro football picks with the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, excuse me, with the Atlanta Falcons. So yeah, I can't back off on it now. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at social media.
Ty said Michigan deserved it. Tree, stay humble though. I see. I'm staying humble, Todd. I'm staying humble. I'm just excited. And I don't think you guys have any clue how much junk people have been talking to me. That's why I'm really extra excited. I can't, like, literally, time the score said final, I text so many people the Michigan logo and just laughed because I had so many people messing with me and talking so much smack. Oh, Alabama's gonna destroy Michigan. It's not even gonna be close and da 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 da. So I'm staying humble, Ty, but I see you. I just, I'm just very excited right now.
Let me ask
No,
you
you
guys
should. I mean, you know, with a hump. Go ahead, Tyrone.
now I don't want. But go ahead. You had a question to Tree. I wanted to ask a question about the Georgia and Florida State. But go ahead. I think you're going to ask a question to Tree about the Michigan.
Actually, I think it's on social media here. Hang on a second here. Right here. Demetrius saying that was the last
Demetrius,
title for Michigan.
Demetrius, I still asked you what school you rooting for. So
Oh, yeah, let me get it back up. He did answer it. Hold on a second.
oh,
Here it
he did?
is.
Oh, okay. Well, my
Yep,
apologies, Demetrius.
there
I
you
got
go.
to get on Jonathan in because I've been waiting. I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting. I'm assuming it's Alabama when you say where your rings at.
Nope, he's got up there. There it is. That's his
Oh,
team.
UGA. Okay. I mean, listen, don't get excited because y'all won back to back.
Georgia they had a long drought. I mean, they had a lot of very much like Michigan, had a lot of near misses. And
Yeah.
Coach Mark Richt got to the SEC championship a couple of times. Probably should have won. Had some great teams that lost key games before they could even get the SEC championship. So they're there. Okay, let's go here. And what's Todd saying? Oh, there's Demetrius making it plain again. He said, I got a UGA.
Okay. Listen, we wanted to play you guys. We really did. We wanted Georgia. I told y'all we wanted Georgia. Georgia wasn't up for the challenge, so we had to play Alabama this year, but we'll see.
Oh, snap.
There's always next year.
On that note, I'm going to take a break and leave that alone. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show. It's Tree Dolman is talking snap about them Michigan Wolverines. We'll be right back.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports. What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
We are back here for the final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show, and always with me, number one, two-time Super Bowl champion Tyrone Poole, and the Queen, Miss Tree Dolman, still in the glow of her boys from Michigan winning the college football semifinals. Okay, Demetrius he's saying, why is he so happy about UGA? Because it took them 41 years to get their second championship.
Honestly, Demetrius, you guys have a great team. I'm just messing with you. Georgia, and I mean, to go back to back, we all know how difficult that is to do. And honestly, I really thought you guys were going to beat Alabama. And I was shocked when I saw that. Well, not really shocked because Alabama's a great team, but I really thought you guys were going to beat Alabama and then we would see you guys. But yes, you guys do have a great team. Not as great as Michigan. Like, we have over 1,000 wins. We have more wins than any college team. So I mean, I can go on and on about the greatness of Michigan and our big house and how we have the number one paraphernalia sold. And I can go on and on. Michigan, go blue. But Georgia, you guys are a great team as well. And I do know many people that played football there. So I know that the Georgia fans are serious.
Uh-oh,
I even say
Todd.
this,
Don't.
that, Georgia actually, I think if they did not know each other so well, Alabama and Georgia, I think Georgia probably would have beaten Alabama. But because I look at the fact that Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, they know each other. I'm like, it's just like when you play your rivalry, they know you, you know them, you throw the records out the window. And it's whoever. I don't care if that team is 10-0 and you 0-10. When it comes to rivalry, you know them. It's like playing against your brother. I know what he's gonna do.
Mhm.
So it makes it an easier game. But I would have loved to see Georgia, and what they did against Florida State. I know a lot of people were saying Florida State. They got players that have an opportunity to go into the pros. But I saw this as a player. If I was, of course, you want to go to the pros, but just to hit this real quick, I'm like, if I wanted to make noise and shut everybody's mouth, right, about how good Florida State is, and also to set up the scene for next year's team. Okay, guys, let's play, and go out against Georgia, our best against their best. But I think even if Florida State had brought their best, I don't think they would have beaten Georgia. They would have beaten Georgia, man. And Georgia did exactly what Georgia should have done. Georgia said, if you're not going to play us with your best, then we're going to show you don't belong on the field with us. And that's what they did. 63 to 3.
63-3.
That's how you
Yeah, Georgia
Can
is
I
nothing
say
nice.
something? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yep, go ahead.
Can I just say how disappointed I am in a lot of the Florida State players with the comments that they're making on social media about the University of Alabama's football team? You're making it personal against Alabama, and Alabama had absolutely nothing to do with the decision of the committee. The committee, and let's talk about this really quickly, because I hear so many people complaining that Florida State should have been in. They were undefeated, But we know that when it comes to college football, you can go undefeated, and it doesn't mean that you're going to be in the top four. Your conference matters. Who you play matters, which is why Liberty was also undefeated, and they weren't even close to being in the top 10 or top 15. Right? So your schedule matters. So you can't get too upset with it when it's what's been happening for years and years and years. And Florida State, because they were undefeated, taking it out on the Alabama football team and the comments that they're making. And to me, that just was very disappointing. I understand that you work hard. We all know. Tyrone, I know you know. I know. When you're on a team, you have a mission. And when you start that season and you start preseason, all the hard work and the training, your goal is to win a championship. Why else are you there? I get that. But to take it out on Alabama like it was Alabama's fault that they weren't able to play in the game and act like, let's be real, like they would have done better. I don't think so. That to me just was very disappointing.
Yeah, like you said, unfortunately, the committee set this up. But again, we've gone through this for years and years and years. People complain when they had the old BCS system because back then you only had two teams. And that was it. They just picked two teams. You had no playoff at all. They got the playoff. You got the four teams. Florida State. They have some arguments saying, look, we're a Power 5 team that went undefeated. We're not a Liberty. So, how come we didn't go? You guys talk about strengths of schedule. The ACC has not been a quote-unquote top caliber conference in a while. They said you guys let Clemson go. So I get it, but yeah, their behavior afterwards, all that junk, they should have done what Georgia did. Georgia was mad that they weren't picked. They said, okay, we're gonna show you guys why we should have been a top 14. And Kirby had them guys ready on blast. He's like, look, we can go out here and play like this is the college football championship, and that's the difference. That's the difference in coaching. That's the difference when getting your program to a certain level, a certain expectation of how you go about your business. As a matter of fact, you had a couple of Georgia guys that could have tapped out, but they didn't. So, that's just the way it goes. All right, let's go here to social media real quick, and then we got to shift to talk some Falcons before we wrap it up.
And
H.B.
Lions.
Hardy, what's he saying there?
Advantage Harbaugh. One thing he has is resources, people that can give him input to stop Washington, his brother, NFL colleagues, etc. But it will be Michigan special teams. Michigan 30, Washington 21. Okay, H.C. Hardy.
Todd throwing some shade.
One player, the center, affected the game. How much is gambling in the game? All it takes is get to one player. Oh, y'all funny.
Demetri said we never lost to a Big Ten too.
We've never lost to a Big Ten school. That is so, you know what? That's why I wanted you guys, partially, and because of 2 years ago. But don't worry, it's coming. And then Ty said, okay, Tree, you win. Michigan is my daddy.
I say he out. He is tapped out. He said, hey, that's it. I think that your boys going to do what they got to do. Well, speaking of do what they got to do, I don't know what the Falcons need to do except for
Falcons.
Falcons. Yeah.
I'm talking about the Falcons. You have this. Hold up.
Hey, we say treat it championship week, huh?
Listen, we're not talking about the Falcons right now. We need to talk about the Detroit Lions and the Cowboys and these referees, how they cheated my Detroit Lions, because everybody saw that we won that game. We scored the 2-point conversion. The player did report. We saw that we did everything we were supposed to. I'm talking about people getting paid off. Those refs got paid off so that the Cowboys could win. And you want to talk about the Falcons? Come on, Jonathan.
Well, we do share this on a lot of Falcons pages, and we do get a lot of our viewers that are Falcons fans.
I'm sure, but the Falcons, we need to be talking about some serious football with the Lions and the Cowboys, and them talking about, the refs, they're not going to be able to ref in the playoffs. No, something more needs to happen. We need to have it where there's the prompters and everything is being watched, and you can go back and make the changes to make sure it's correct. It's just been too many times this season where games have been messed up by the referees, and it's really not a good look. And especially during this part of the season where this call changed the trajectory of the playoff schedule. And so the Cowboys, the way that I'm not going to say the Cowboys cheated, but the referees cheated. Now the Cowboys are trying to set themselves up to go further and to avoid playing different teams. But it's just not right. There's no way that the Detroit Lions should be number 3. Right now, we should be sitting in the number 2 spot with a chance to be number 1. And that game was just ripped away from us. But I think that, yes, we still had a chance to win. Yes, we did. So I'm not saying that we didn't get opportunity even after the horrible call to win. We didn't make the play after that. But that call, ridiculous.
Yeah.
H.C. Hardy, when the Queen talks, people listen.
You know what? I look at that game.
He got the big head. Demetrius, you said, I have a big head?
You said you're flexing now because Detroit's on a nice little roll. You said you're flexing.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't have a big head. I'm just excited.
Yeah. I look at that Cowboys and Lions game, several concerns. And I've heard people talk about it and point this out, that there were several calls that were missed on that play and that drive. If that that ghost clipping call, tripping call, or whatever that was erroneous, that would have kept the Cowboys going. And then I look at the fact too, I'm like, Campbell, when I look back at it, why you just didn't go for the field goal? I'm like, they moved the ball away from a good high percentage shot to get 2 points. Now you get moved back even farther and you still try to go for 2. I'm like, why not kick the extra point and go on into overtime So I'm like, there's just certain questions like our Arsenio Hall say, make you say, I'm like, every time you try to go for two, I'm like, they moved you farther away from the goal, go kick the field goal. No, we're gonna go. I'm like, even that in itself didn't play out right in my head, man. I'm like, normally a coach, especially professional level, let's go ahead and kick the field goal and take the thing into OT. But I don't know why they didn't do that. It's like, why the ghost tripping call, I'm like, you can't go back and look at review. I don't know, man. It's just these refs, the games. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Well,
And
all I
that's
can
why
tell
I
you
love
is this.
Coach Campbell,
Go ahead.
because he doesn't do what most coaches do. He's different. And sometimes you're going to win with the difference. And sometimes it's not, you're going to lose with it. And I'm not saying lose the game, but I'm saying lose the time to score. I also was shocked that at the beginning of the game that we didn't kick the field goal and that we kept going. We could have put 3 on the board. So, but like I say, sometimes with his cause, they're going to be great for us. Sometimes they're not. So I just have to support and trust in his vision. But regardless of the cause and people not agreeing with the cause, the fact of the matter is we scored on the 2-point conversion and the Lions really won the game, but they took it away from us, period. Everybody has said it. You can watch it. Everybody's seen the play. So we still scored and had more points than the Cowboys until they took it away. What were you going to say, Jonathan?
No, but I mean, the one thing, and no disrespect to Detroit fans, but they all have kind of glossed over the fact that had it not been for the phantom call on the tripping, where actually your guy tripped, you wouldn't even got the ball back, and when it come down to that. So I'm just saying, I mean, it's this.
I mean, you don't know that though. That's what I'm saying. People say this wouldn't happen. You have no clue, right? We could have had a pick 6 or anything. So you can't say that. We all know in the game of football that things happen. We all know that the end of the game is a long time, 2 minutes. So you can't say that. So you can't talk about the what ifs and what ifs. What I'm talking about is the what did happen, right? I'm not saying what if this happened, what if that happened. I'm saying that we scored the 2-point conversion. Everybody saw it. The referee was saying that 68 did not come and report. You see where 68 did report. You see where the referee shook his head. You see that we did everything we were supposed to do. You see that we scored on the 2-point conversion. You see that we technically won the game, but the referees took it away from us. You see that. You even see that the NFL is trying to reprimand the referees because they know how bad the referees screwed up. So it's not a what if. The Detroit Lions technically won that game against the Cowboys. So those are the facts.
All I want to do is go back to this is just a deja vu, and I'm gonna mix Coach Campbell up in this. If he don't, when you get into pressure situation games, you got to have a cool head prevails. I'm gonna go back to when the Seahawks played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, right? You got Marshawn Lynch back there, but Pete Carroll want to do something that you shouldn't do. Man, look at here. You do what works. Run Marshawn. So again, like you said, he does what he does, but I do know this: when you get in them big pressure games, every decision, whether it's intangible, meaning the coaches, they make bad decisions, right? Or the players. But at the end of the day, man, what's the old saying? A bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. So run Marshawn Lynch. Stop trying to be so fancy. Get outside the box and throw the ball. Now you got an interception, Seattle. Could have had back-to-back Super Bowls. So again, Coach Campbell, hey, that's all I'll say. But hey, it worked out for him, right?
No, you're right, Tyrone. I agree completely. It depends on who you're playing, the score, and we know when it's this time of the season where we're about to go into the playoffs where every game matters and it's 0-0. I don't care what seed you are, it's 0-0 any given Sunday or Saturday or Thursday. I mean, we can go on and on, but I agree with you. The cause definitely matter.
Yeah.
HC Hardy said Cowboys are like Kool-Aid with no sugar. They always leave a bad taste in your mouth. That's funny. Yeah, I'm still appalled by that game. I'm actually in the process of getting a shirt made, Lions versus the refs. Because these refs, this isn't the first time that they've cheated us out of the game. And that's the really sad part. It's been happening for years where, I mean, they just come up with the craziest calls. And I mean, it's been bad, right? And I don't know why they feel like we're the team that they can cheat out of a game and get other people to win. And it's very sickening. And the fact that we know what happened, but they can't go back and change the game is, like I say, they need to do something about the NFL so that things like this can't happen.
I got two. I know we got to talk about the Falcons. Jonathan want to talk about the Falcons, but you got to understand Atlanta is also a melting pot. You know, you got Falcons fans here, you got Lions fans here, you got all kinds of fans that stay here in Georgia. So at the end of the day, just like the NFL, Jonathan, your show is the same thing. It's about the money, right? It's about followers. So I'm just joking. Hey, I had to hit him right there in the stomach with that one, True. Hey, he went the numbers ago. He better talk about more than the Falcons, but we're gonna talk about the Falcons. Let me say this. Hey, put his glasses on. But let me say this.
Of course, we're going to talk about the Falcons, but I just can't believe you wanted to talk about the Falcons first. I'm like, we have all this controversy going on in the NFL. You want to talk about the Falcons? What are the Falcons doing right now?
Two things. What would it be like if we have Detroit and Cleveland make the Super Bowl? And then number one, my second question is, how dominant are those Ravens, man? So
I'll tell you right now, buddy, the NFL, unless they owe Detroit and Cleveland something, they're not trying to see them two teams in the Super Bowl, bro. I mean, it's just there's no. And listen, don't get me wrong. Both of those teams technically are story NFL franchise. They've been around for a long, long time. But that just the whole idea of that all Midwest Super Bowl, it don't have that sex appeal like some of these other teams. So I would be shocked. But again, now, Tyrone, NFL is all about stories. It's like a WWE. So Detroit has a great story with Dan Campbell. First time they've won in a long time. So that's it. I don't know if you saw H.C. Hardy's comments up there. He said if that game was in Detroit, they would have never made it back to the airport. Hashtag 7 mile style. That took us some business. We've got nowhere. But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, this is the NFL really is going to have to be very careful in trying to get this thing under control because unfortunately you got too many cameras, you got too many people that can pull up replays from different angles, and you got week after week where you got people saying, hey man, how about this call, how about this, how come the ref missed this? And it's obvious. It'd be one thing if it wasn't obvious, but these things are obvious, right? Where the NFL clearly looks like they're asking the refs to make calls that will affect the game. And you when people want to be blunt, say fixing games. If they want to say, hey, we want to enhance entertainment value. I heard somebody come out and say, hey, look, not necessarily fixing the game per se, win or loss, but they're trying to keep people engaged. It's just like Ray Lewis, he didn't want to say anything, but he said, but how on earth could you have a situation in the biggest game of the year in a legendary stadium, lights go out in the middle of a Super Bowl, lights go out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when Frisco comes back, they're getting blown out of the game, and now they're back in it.
Yeah.
Just odd things go on, which take away from the game.
Yeah, no, it does.
So I don't know what the NFL is going to do. I will say this much: Roger Goodell did a nice PR campaign. He came down here for something called the Global Hope Forum. And it was hosted by John Hope Bryant, which you guys may or may not know. He is a tremendous entrepreneur, and I would say bridge maker. Has been going around and doing some great stuff with his foundation, trying to pull corporate entities together to try to give people more opportunities. But yeah, he had Roger Goodell down, and Goodell actually I was taken aback. Because normally when you see him on TV and he comes out and the draft people are booing the guy, and a lot of times, he looks very almost like a politician. But now he came to Atlanta, he chilling, had the sport coat on, open collar, and he talked about his humble beginning and how which I never knew, that his father actually took over for the remaining balance of the senatorial not campaign, but term in office after Robert Kennedy was shot and killed in New York, which I had no idea about that at all. And he just looked like this very sympathetic and compelling fella talking about how he's trying to keep everything together and so many interests. But man, week after week, NFL looked like a lot of slim shady stuff going on. I'm just saying, they're going to have to get that fixed or they're going to lose the audience. To me, more and more, the NFL is looking like WWE. These things, they got little scripts, how we going to do certain teams, what's going to happen. And if they don't get that fixed, they're going to lose and kill the golden goose. Because right now, even in spite of all the stuff that we're talking about, people think games fixed, the NFL is still must-see TV. They are the economic sports hammer. I mean, they're making a lot of money for the league and for these owners. But like I said, at some point, man, people are going to be like, hey, if you're fixing games, I mean, or it might be a WWE. WWE makes a lot of money. Everybody knows those matches are rigged. So, I mean,
Well,
I don't.
everybody doesn't know, but I
You're right.
agree.
My grandmama didn't know back in the day, but she watched it. I mean, that was before WWE. It was just wrestling then, pro
Yeah,
wrestling.
some
And we
people
tried to
think you
tell her,
hear
man,
that.
and that good old Holy Ghost filled preacher gives you that slanty eyed look, like you better keep your mouth shut. So
Yeah. Well, I will say Roger Goodell is a nice, cool guy from my perspective. But I do think that in the NFL, they need to stop the games and have a replay like they do in the major games with the college. You see that these two semifinal games, if it was a call and they were, or even if they thought they were sure, but they just went to the monitor to double check, yes, it may slow down the game just a teeny tad bit, but I think that people would rather have that than to have things that are happening happen. And it's unfortunate. It's not just the Lions that this has happened to. So I really think, which yes, we know every ref, you can't make every call. You're going to miss some. No one's perfect. We get that. But when it's a really important game and so many things are on the line, like I said, the entire trajectory of the playoffs has been changed because of that game. So
and kind of makes you wonder. There's some odd stuff going on. But here's the thing: I thought don't they replay every scoring play? I thought they're supposed to do that anyway, just on GP.
you said what?
I thought they reviewed every scoring play anyway, don't they? Like every touchdown, every score, don't they review that, or just touchdowns?
I believe so.
I think they do.
Yes, I mean, maybe they don't do it extra points. I guess maybe that was the case, but I thought they reviewed them on every single one. Okay, let's go here to Demetrius, and he says, she's saying here,
The NFL is looking like the Oscars.
yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it's just a lot of crazy stuff that goes on, and we know, unfortunately, from what happened with the NBA, we know that because of the amount of betting that goes on, stuff goes on. We had referees
Unfortunately.
that went to jail for getting involved with determining the outcome of the game. So I mean, some of the stuff that we've seen, even not minor, but even other things like ball placement on spots, things like this, we thinking, hey man, the camera shows clearly the guy either got a first down or didn't, and the referee moved the ball back, and you're like, dude, what are you watching? Are you watching a replay? And it just seems like,
Yeah.
week after week, we have stuff that goes on that just doesn't make sense. So at some point, the league's gonna have to get that corral, man, because it takes away from the game, But a lot of
Mm.
money involved, a lot of money, big money. So I guess until they get that fixed, that's it. Now, Tyrone, you talked about the Ravens. Yeah, they look like a steamroller, bro. I mean, it looks like Lamar Jackson and offensive coordinator just got the right amount of mix of run and pass, and they look like they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah. It's, they got their defense again. They got an offense that can move the ball up and down the field. Now, again, I think I said this last week. If it was just Lamar Jackson doing the run pass option, no. I don't think a quarterback of that caliber can win a championship. But what you're seeing now, they're utilizing Lamar more like balanced, throwing and using him to run a little bit. But so it puts a lot of pressure on the defense when you got a quarterback that can scramble, you can build in plays for that quarterback, or you can let your quarterback drop back and throw the ball. And then they got this monster defense, man. I'm like, that's a recipe for a championship to me.
Yeah, I mean, it looks stout, and you look at the numbers that he is putting up, and obviously numbers can be deceiving, but at the end of the day, certainly an MVP candidate, 37 yards passing. He actually leads the team in rushing, 821 yards on the ground. So once again, he has an opportunity to be a quarterback that potentially can throw for 4,000 and rush 4,000. I think he'd be the first quarterback ever to do that. Yeah, he's just putting up monster numbers, and like you said, Tyrone, it's not just him running around. You look at his offensive passing stats, stunning. 67% completion ratio, 3,700 yards almost in the air, 24 touchdown passes, only 7 interceptions. And that's in spite of him being sacked 37 times this season. On the ground, yeah, even more the same. 148 carries, 821 yards, averaging almost 5.5 yards a carry, and 5 more touchdowns. So he's accumulated almost 30 combined touchdowns for this Raven offense. And yeah, they're gonna have to be it's gonna be tight. Let's go here to my man Todd. He's always good for something.
Todd, my sources. If Smith wins Sunday, and I repeat, don't make playoffs, Smith stays. I may drink some drink.
Oh, you talking about some Drano. Todd, be careful.
Drano. What? Todd.
Yeah, be careful, bro. Take it easy. All right, AC Hardy.
But what an amazing job that former Georgia OC Todd Monken has done in his first year as Ravens OC. Also, Chuck Smith with the linebackers. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, coaching makes a difference. I mean, I look at Coach Chuck Smith, and to me, what he's doing out there with the Ravens. Ravens always been known for their defense, but to me, it's another indictment against the management that we have here. Here's a guy that's a former Falcons player, a guy that's ran his school right here, a good portion of it right here in the Atlanta metro area. And the Falcons have never, from the best of my knowledge, asked him to be a part, even as an advisor. And even though they've had one of the worst pass rushing teams for about the last decade, yeah, just that's what we got. That's why it's not must-see TV here in Atlanta. I don't get it.
I want to add this too. We talk about the Ravens, just to interject on that. Lamar Jackson is doing all this that he's doing when the NFL ushered in the new rule for this year to kind of take away the RPO, where the quarterback would ride the running back and then take off. You don't really see a lot of that because the rules stated that the quarterbacks have to make their handoff either beside or behind the quarterback. So with that new rule, Lamar Jackson still, doing pretty good. So kudos to Lamar Jackson.
And do you think that's hampered at all what Jalen Hurts was doing down in Philadelphia, that rule?
Yeah, again, it gives our offense great advantage over defense. So that's why they instituted that thing. So again, the quarterbacks had to make adjustments. And like you said, whether it's Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson or anybody, that teams were doing that RPO. But again, with that rule being implemented, Lamar Jackson still having an MVP year. So for all those saying that, he's just an athlete, which I always said that again, the team can kind of penalize you, right? Meaning, okay, Lamar, if the first read is not open, second read is not open, take off and run it. And then those who were criticizing Lamar Jackson would say, hey, the third read is wide open. And see right here, he takes off and starts running. Well, again, we don't really know what they were telling him in the what the offensive coordinator was telling him, right? But now with the decrease of the amount of RPOs, so to speak, because the how they fooled the defensive end is to ride that running back and then take it out. So now that rule is implemented to where they have to do the handoff either beside or behind the quarterback. Again, it just made Lamar Jackson really have to focus on, more than just the RPO, but he got to sit there and go through his route progression. So again, kudos to Lamar Jackson.
There's some comments from H.C. Hardy.
H.C. Hardy said, but yet Coach Poole I'm speaking into existence should be with the Falcons organization. I concur. Too much nepotism in the NFL.
It's all about who you know, man. That's how that thing is. It's all about
I agree. You should be with the Falcons.
And who knows? That might come sooner rather than later.
I hope so.
They might be cleaning house.
Let's send some letters in. Let's go.
They might be cleaning house after the end of this year. And actually, we talk about Jalen Hurts. A lot of people have talked about him because he had such a legendary season last year. But again, if you look at the numbers, he has improved a lot. Even the Eagles have been very erratic. I mean, how can you lose to the Cardinals? I mean, how can you lose that game? But I mean, overall, his numbers have improved dramatically. At one point, I think he was like Ritter. He had like 11 touchdowns and 8 or 9 interceptions, but he has improved that dramatically. 3,800 yards in the air for Mr. Jalen Hurts, 23 touchdowns, 14 interception, and like our man Lamar Jackson, doing it with his feet as well, 601 yards on the ground, only averaging about 4 yards a carry, but has scored 15 rushing touchdowns as a quarterback. So people said they won. I mean, he's having an off season, but them some big numbers. 36 overall touchdowns.
Yeah, and speaking of quarterbacks, you talk about the Falcons. I heard a couple of people rumblings. They're talking about Justin Fields, right? He might not be in Chicago next year. So everybody, I heard a couple of people talking about him coming to Atlanta. Atlanta going ahead and giving up a first-round pick to get a veteran quarterback. And now you bring Justin Fields in along with everybody else that they have on offense. What could the Falcons offense look like?
Well, you would think that his skill sets are perfectly designed to his team, but keep in mind, this is a Falcons team that decided not to draft him when he first came out of school. They picked Kyle Pitts, and they were talking about they wanted the guy that went up to San Francisco, and he ended up not playing at all.
Right. It's about winning. It's about winning championships, man.
Right. No,
listen. Aside. If they got now, he can help us come in and win championships. Man, you know what? Shake his hand. Give him a couple extra dollars. Tell the wife to bake him a cake or something, and let bygones be bygones and smoke the peace pipe, man. We trying to win a championship.
You would think so, but I'm just not sure. Now, of course, the other guy that rumored about coming here is the gentleman that's a little bit longer in the tooth, but he's actually got some pedigree, got a ring, and you mentioned him earlier about the bad play calling by Pete Carroll to throw a pass. Russell Wilson clearly is out in Denver. What do you think about him coming to Atlanta?
Well, you know what? He would be a good pickup because, again, I think Russell's at the point where he would bring veteran leadership, and I think that's what the Falcons definitely would be looking for. If I'm them, I'm looking for leadership, bringing veterans in to show these younger guys because they do have a young team, and you want to show these younger guys what it takes, and Russell has been there. And I think it will work very well because Sierra is from here, and I'm pretty sure she would love to come back home. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Russell is sending private messages to Arthur Blank right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's going back and forth between them because, certainly as far as putting seats in the stand, obviously the guy's got to play. But, having a hometown gal with Miss Sierra there and Russell has played very, very well when he's come to Atlanta. They lost against the Falcons in the playoffs, but he's played very well since he come here. Sharp guy, very well-spoken guy, and right up the alley of Arthur Blank. He likes NFL Men of the Year type, as he brought in work done many, many years ago. So yeah, I would not be surprised at all. Let's go back to social media as we get ready to turn the corner to home here. Let's see here.
And then also, before you read that, as you read that comment, I wouldn't be surprised if Sierra say, "Hey, Mr. Blank, Arthur, we could also, because I'm from Atlanta, I got a lot of people. We could do some concerts after the game. We got a lot of ideas to bring some money to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So, hey, you never know. Now it's all about the money, Jonathan. Like you said, show me the money."
That is correct, Mundo. And let's face it, the Hawks have parlayed that type of mentality into having one of the best in-game activities in the NBA and keeping a constant near sold out State Farm Arena because there's a lot of star power. The Hawks go out of their way to make sure if you in the entertainment field at all, if you're a star player from the other team, you getting those front row seats, baby. And they making sure all about that. So I mean, there's no doubt about it. Now Todd, he said, well, let's see what Todd said.
Rustlers washed up for the love of sweet Jesus.
Hey, I don't know now,
What
Falco.
was that other comment?
Falco got something to say about that. Now I'm pretty
I'm just
sure
saying.
Russell looking at Falco and say, "Hey, man, did you see what he doing up in Cleveland? Man, he got the son Watson shaking in his boots now."
That's it. Let's go back to some of these previous comments on social media here. We got H.C. Hardy.
I
He's talking
promise
about the
you,
Eagles situation. Go ahead.
I promise you, former Eagles OC, Colts Panther Frank Reich. Did I say that right?
Frank Reich.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Will be with the Eagles next year. Okay. He had another one.
Regarding Russell Wilson,
he said, bring Russell Wilson and his former OC in Seattle, Darrell Bevel, who is the passing game coordinator with Miami. He also took them to the Super Bowl twice. Okay. Future.
Uh-oh.
Russell and Seattle. Demetrius, you wrong for that.
Hardy said bringing his coach, I guess, will be the incentive for Russell Wilson. And Hardy with the last comment looks like here. What's he saying, Tree?
Former Falcon, Arizona, Tennessee head coach Ken Weisenhut, head coach Darrell Bevel, OC, keep the defensive coordinator. But do you guys really think they're gonna let Arthur go?
I mean, I just think that he has mismanagement team. I mean, and really to me overall, Terry Fondo's done, I think, a decent job in the draft. I still question why you would draft a Kyle Pitts instead of Penei Sewell, which has been a thumper for the Detroit Lions. Right. When you need line help, I'm just thinking to myself, as good as the offensive line is now, I'm just imagining him with McGarry and with Lindstrom. I mean, that offensive line would be stout. So I'm not sure why they did that. And then I'm not sure you come right back behind and draft Bijan Robinson at 8 when you already had a guy that just broke in your Falcons rushing record for a rookie with 1,000 yards. It just didn't make sense. I know everybody's saying, well, Cordell Patterson is old, they're replacing him, but I mean, it just was a weird thing to me. I just think they mishandled it. So I'm thinking if they win, he's probably going to be back. And now here's the bizarre thing, folks. The bizarre thing is, as bad as the Falcons have played, and Tyrone, weird things happen in the NFL. If Tampa Bay were to lose to the Panthers on Sunday and the Falcons would win, guess who would be the NFC South champions?
Yeah, but I don't think
Atlanta Falcons.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Carolina is set where they are. They looking for the future, so they looking at how many draft picks they can get right now for number one.
Right,
they gonna lose that game, that Jack.
Right, especially when they've already lost what would be the number 1 overall pick to the Bears because they traded to get their current quarterback. So yeah, I don't see that. What's that saying there?
That's the one I read already.
Oh, we did that. We read. Okay, got you. All right, yes. Yeah, so I don't. Yeah, I don't think it's happening, and I think that that look. Here's the thing. Arthur Smith has got a lot of culpability on why this team has lost, but to be very candid, the team has not helped him. I mean, if I look at games where you actually call a decent game, the team they just didn't execute. I mean, you can coach as much as you want, but you cannot stop a guy. You can't do anything about a guy throwing the ball into throwing an interception in the red zone. You march the ball 80 yards down the field and you throw a pick. You march the ball again, you get a fumble. So they might bring him back. They might say, well, hey, he can't go out there and play the game. But again, just some strange stuff. And I'll put some up real quickly about why people get mad about Arthur Smith and his play calling. I'm going to put this up here. There's an interesting stat I thought. Again, not taking away from B. John Robinson because he's done very, very well. But first of all, look at Young Wei Koo, the normal Mr. Reliable, his last 3 games. Missed 2 against the Bears, and 1 of 3 against the Bears, and 1 of 3 against the Buccaneers. Especially in that Bucs game, that was a winnable game. So Arthur Smith is probably saying, look, coach, see? And then here's why people get mad at him. Again, Tyler, again, our guy Robinson's a great guy, but look at these stats here for the Falcons winning. When Tyler Argio gets the ball and rushes for at least 50 yards, the Falcons are 4-1. But that's telling me, now again, I granted, some of that stuff is because of the fact that usually he's getting the ball, that means the Falcons have a lead and they can run it out. But I'm thinking, why would you not give this guy the ball more when he's shown that he's a better north and south runner? And he's like a puncher, a boxer. You want to hit him with body blows and then give you a little Bijan when you're kind of slowed down. And now you're trying to catch this rabbit in the hat. So I don't get it. That's where I'm irritated with Smith. I'm thinking you got a team that can rush for about 130, 140 yards a game. Why you don't establish the run early? Why you come out like they did against Detroit, against other teams, throwing the ball, slinging it around when you got a quarterback that's a pick machine? A guy I thought he would never do that. All right, last comment right here.
Todd said, if Smith coached the 84 49ers, he had Montana on the bench. No cares for cover Craig. Jerry Rice, no targets, 4-10 record.
I think he meant Roger Craig, the running back. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
Roger
hilarious.
Craig. Well, I tell you this: the game against the Bears, 59 plays. Offense had only 59 plays. Yeah, you can't have that, man. You can't have that.
No, and it's funny how every single quarterback that's played against the Falcons that was a little bit mobile, the Falcons made him look at an all-pro. Every single one. Kyler Murray, Josh Dobbs, everybody been killing Justin Fields against the Falcons. This is why we drafted him number 4 overall. This is why. He looked great. Look like a new man. Only the Falcons. All right. We're going to wrap it up, guys. When we do this, we want to make sure that you know more about our host, our co-host, and guests. So before I choke out, Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
Appreciate it, Jonathan. Always good to be with you. Always good to be with your tree. Michigan, number 1. Let's go Lions. I think they about to bring Billy Sims on the sideline for the last game. But Tyrone Poole, all 38. Tyrone Poole, 38, all social media. Talk to you guys next time.
Bye, Tyrone. Work that thing.
I know, right? WTT 100 2024.
Work it. Mr. Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on social media at Purple Diva 13, as well as Ms. America International 2022. Definitely check out my page on Purple Diva 13 and look at the awesome video I made for Michigan. More coming for the Lions. Go blue and one pride.
Queen has spoken. All right, guys, before my voice completely goes, you can follow the show and me on social media at Real Talk Sports, number 7. Follow me personally at Minister J. Sims. Remember, you can reach me at jsimmons@realtalksports.net or simply call 678-410-9833. Guys, I always remind you here as we come through the holiday season that if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, please, sir, get to know him today. Nobody loves you like Jesus. He's the one that died for you, but he rose from the dead. So if you repent of your sins and believe that, two great things happen. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you become an adoptive child of God with all the rights therein. That means you now can go to God like a heavenly parent, ask him for anything you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll give it to you. And even when you die, you go to that happy place called heaven and avoid that nasty place called hell. I don't know about you, but I like option number one instead of option number two. All right, guys, until the next time we get back together again, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long.